4 minutes ago. Ultra rare pull from Genezado about a situation that I've been made aware of. Blue Archive, the gacha game, there's some drama involving some content creators that you may know, like GIGGUK, CDAWG, Iron Mouse. I wonder if the recent Streamer Awards drama has anything to do with this, but let's listen to what Genezado has to say about this Blue Archive gacha VTuber anime drama.
Blue Archive players have done it again. They have shown yet again that they are probably the most powerful community I've ever seen in gacha games.
If you don't know the context behind this, basically there was a bunch of fan service stuff in Korea. Blue Archive, I think, is a Korean game, and the nature of the game, very, you know, lewd fan servicey stuff, and they were trying to censor that shit. The audience that plays the Blue Archive game brigaded. They formed. The monkeys were able to finally unite together and fight against the corporate evil of this censorship. And it turns out, after enough pushback, there was some internal auditing, and there was like actual fraud and like bribes and all this corrupt shit going on. And some way, somehow, the censorship shit got cleared. Boom, gone. And now, big ass, big titties, just funny, cute, gacha, cunny shit. I don't know. That's kind of my understanding of it.
Most of these other communities, they complain and nothing happens. They just get mad. But Blue Archive, every time these guys get upset, something happens. They get exactly what they want. So what happened today, and this is pretty funny because I actually saw it live happen, is Blue Archive put out a tweet saying, hey, you can get some Twitch drops, and we have these streamers that are going to be playing.
This GIGGUK picture is kind of crazy. I don't know. This GIGGUK picture looks like he's trying way too hard to look cool. When I think GIGGUK, I don't really. He's just like. That's not you. That's not you.
Playing our game and advertising, right? It's a sponsorship. And players were a little bit less than happy. All of the comments were,
bro looks like he's from like a 90s high school drama, like what, like Grease, right? Like Pony Boy shit.
pretty much just ragging on the four of them and saying like, these are terrible picks, why don't you get—
Oh, Nicholas Light's getting involved in here too. All right, let's see your name. Instead of choosing creators that respect your game and the content within it, you choose someone that has no respect for the fan base. But I guess because he's popular, it's totally okay. I don't even play this game, but I know you dumb as fuck for this. Whoever is the person behind that decision to choose them to play and stream Blue Archive, never let them make that kind of decision ever again. So basically, they chose external influencers who don't play the game but has clout to promote their game, and the locals are like, who the fuck are these tourists? These dudes don't understand anything about our culture, and you're coming in here trying to just use their numbers without it being proper representation. Here's another one too. A very good decision. Letting Connor, a known tourist and a lolly hater, to represent the game is the same as Diddy Oil Piker speaking about animal cruelty. Shout out to Hassan's dog. So at the end of the day, it really just boils down to this. All fucking anime and gacha drama, it boils down to this. Do lolly lives matter or not? Especially for Blue Archive. These fictional depictions of minor girls wearing scantily wearing outfits, exposing their ass and titties for the sake of, you know, monetizing the gooners for business. Like, basically, that's the culture, right? And a lot of people are very against lollies. And I think that the people coming on board is kind of that crowd, and therefore very mad about this shit, right? And Blue Archive is going to gatekeep that.
People who actually enjoy our game, or these people are pretty much just like posers and they're not like us. Pretty much all the comments were saying like, we don't want them. And within 2 hours, this happened. It's gone. They deleted the tweet so fast within 2 hours, and then they put this up. Hello, Sensei. This is Blue Archive. All of the players are—
I love how they call them senseis, right? That's, you know why they call it senseis? So like, you know how like Genshin Impact, you're traveler? Because you're traveling. Because in Blue Archive, you're a sensei because you're a teacher, which implies that you're probably over the legal age. But like all the characters are specifically like underage high school kids, I think. I don't know. I watched the Blue Archive anime in Problem Solver. What was it? Was it Problem Solver 67? Or was it 69? It was 68? You know, I think one of the girls, the low-key one wearing the hood and the booty shorts, I think she was like 18. But anyways, most of the characters are specifically like underage, and they call you senseis because the sensei is there to do what? Teach the children. Teach them, kids. Let them know that you're there for them in their time of need. You are a sensei.
Called senseis, right? We sincerely apologize for any confusion and concern caused by the Blue Archive influencer campaign. We take the valuable feedback you've shared with us very seriously. After internal review and discussion, we have decided to not proceed with this influencer campaign. Moving forward, we'll
no matter what you think about morals, ethics, oh my god, they just want to jack off to depictions of fictional underage characters. Oh my god, that's so evil. Like, I don't really care what you think about this. What I'm thinking of in the perspective of a business trying to survive and do well with their local audience, right? Their clients. And if the customers are outraged and saying, this ain't representing us, for a company to immediately pivot and move like this shows that they're very aware. They were kind of testing the waters and they realized, yep, backlash. All right, let's get that shit out of the way. Let's bring our OGs in instead. It's a good move. It's a problem that should have never even happened. I guess they're kind of trying to push the line to see how far can we, basically deliver, but it's a good pivot. Oh, sorry, audio issues. One second. And we're back.
To not proceed with this influencer campaign. Moving forward, we'll strive to communicate in ways that better align with the direction of Blue Archive and the expectations of Sensei. We'd like to sincerely thank all the Sensei who continue to support Blue Archive and share their valuable feedback with us. We'll do our utmost to deliver a better experience and continue improving Blue Archive. Now, keep in mind, this game is Korean and run by Nexon, and a lot of people are normally saying like, oh, we're second-class citizens and all that stuff. They're treating global worse. So people were unhappy about the original thing. But if you look at all these comments, they're all pretty much very happy and excited, and they're like, yeah, you listened to us, thank you, W devs. So in reality, it actually kind of ended up being a giant win for them. And here's the thing, this is not the first time the Blue Archive fans have changed things. There was a previous time where they were going to have a VTuber collaboration, and players got so mad that within one day the whole collaboration was pulled. But even more insane, the Korean rating board was completely taken down by Blue Archive players because they rated the game as, I think, like 18 plus or 16 plus, which was going to hurt the advertisement of the.
Yeah, they try and be like, guys, we're calling it senseis in this game. Maybe like listen, it's kind of crazy how, like, and no matter how good of a PR move it may seem like, it's also kind of tricky when you bend the knee to your audience this often, because it kind of shows you that you bleed, right? Some companies never they never even try to negotiate. They just do whatever they want. And often that leads to just the death of a game because they're not listening to their audience. But there's also like a balance of when to actually make change fast versus when you are simply getting dragged by the whims of these people that may not even care about it, right? But if they understand who their target audience is and they're aware of the situation, they're in tune with their market, this is a good decision. It's well balanced.
The game and put it to a higher age rating, and the players got so mad that they basically mass reported the Korean rating board, which was then investigated by the government, and it turned out they were embezzling an insane amount of money. So they took down this
Korea and corruption with embezzlement money, that sounds about right.
Entire government office previously. And so, I mean, they have unlimited power. At this point, the company is just bowing down to them, which realistically, if you think about it, every single game company should sort of be bowing down to the players and listening to them.
I think, again, they need to be bowing down to players that they understand as the core audience, right? Because sometimes, like, these companies, especially this happens in Western devs, right? Or like North American situations where a bunch of people will listen to a vocal minority saying, oh my god, we hate the over-sexualization of these characters, when their entire audience are a bunch of gooners. They fall to the pressure thinking they need to look more inclusive, more friendly, brand-friendly PR, and then what happens? Complete backlash. They get canceled because they're bending the knee for, again, a vocal minority that doesn't even represent their true player base. This happens a lot in movies, video games, anime. Not really anime. There's a bit of different, I guess bending the knee that happens for anime in terms of Crunchyroll and like the subs and the localizations and the issues that the middlemen have when delivering the original intent to the source material.
I mean, they're the ones who give them the money. Players aren't always right about everything, but the players are the ones who basically control.
Players who spend the money and players who are constantly engaged with their game, that's who matters. Identify them, listen to them, and deliver product for them, and then it gets bigger and bigger. It's that simple.
Where the money's going, right? So the Blue Archive fans won again. As for these 4 streamers, I have literally nothing against them at all. I would take a Blue Archive sponsor.
I have no clue who Zentre is. I know GIGGUK and CDAWG and Iron Musto.
I think most people would take a Blue Archive sponsor, right? I think it's totally fair that they get this sponsorship, and I've seen lots of people get them in the past, but I've never really seen an announcement like this, and I think this is kind of what pissed off some of the community. Also, as for the choices, I think a lot of people were specifically upset about CDAWG, and I think it's because he doesn't really like lolly-ish or more childish type characters, and let's be honest, a lot of characters in Blue Archive are like that, so...
I think the majority of them are, right? Is there any MILF character actually in Blue Archive? Is there any MILF characters? Like, and I'm not talking about like lollibabas. I'm talking about like some mature, like MILFy character. But how does that make sense if they're all like high school kids?
It's not really surprising. I'm not really into those kinds of characters either, but at the same time, I mean, there's some characters in Blue Archive that don't really look like that, but they make all the characters' ages a little bit below 18. You'll have like this character with the...
It's not... They call you sensei. Jenna, just say it for what it is. You are a sensei in the game. You're a teacher. You're a legal adult. And then you have a bunch of children that you educate. That's right. You correct them. Sometimes they're acting out. Ooh, and then tear emojis. Everyone's spamming tear emojis. Angry mark, correction needed.
Craziest body of all time. And you're like, holy crap. And then they're like, yeah, they're 5. And you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Right, so that's kind of how they run their game. So a lot of people were especially mad about him because...
I can see backlash of this saying, like, basically... There's always going to be such a big divide in this topic of lollies, simply because of the nature of pedophilia. I'm not saying that this is pedophilia, but when you have depictions, drawings, right? I understand it's not real, but when it sexualizes characters that have petite bodies and even their mental age and the way that they act is like a child, of course people are going to get sensitive and weirded out by it, and then a big line is drawn. So I can see one narrative being pushed saying, man, Blue Archive community is actually so fucking degenerate, which is, I think, a compliment that they would, you know, basically say. They would basically see this as like a filter of seeing who the tourists are. They want to gatekeep their shit, and they don't want you guys here. They have no, basically, the pro lolly crowd has absolutely no a desire to ever collaborate or form a bridge with the anti-lolly crowd. They draw a line and say, get the fuck out. We're deporting all you antis, and we're going to do our little thing over here. That sounds kind of weird, actually, when I say little thing. And then there's the other side that says, these are fucking delusional pedophiles. They're PDFs. This is a bad look in the state of anime or gacha, and this is going to get normalized. Think about the kids and stuff like that. And then constant back and forth of like, oh, why are you so scared of a drawing? Why are you so scared of a 4-letter word? There's no fucking end to it, right? So it's going to be a bunch of that happening throughout the next couple days.
He doesn't really like those kinds of characters, and he's spoken out against them a lot, and also he's super into MILF characters, which, by the way, is pretty based. But regardless, I think because there was a big announcement like this, that's what pissed off the players. Now, a lot of them are saying, like, why don't you just get people who really love Blue Archive, and why aren't you getting people that already make content on the game? Well,
because they don't have that much clout. Well, no, that's probably wrong. I think they probably have more clout than me, probably more than Jenna. There's probably some big Blue Archive creators out there. I just don't know. But these are beyond that, right? These are like the mainstream talent that has a much bigger outreach and visibility. And in terms of maximizing visibility and advertisements, maybe they thought it's a good idea to bring in people who are aware of anime culture, who covers anime topic, has a massive mainstream audience, and wants to bring them in. I think it's that simple.
I mean, the whole point of a sponsorship is to get new people into playing the game. But this isn't the first time. Blue Archive...
That's another great statement made from Jen, is that actually new people coming into the game. The whole point of this advertisement is actually a tourist advertisement. Our goal is to bring in new people that have not even been aware of this shit. Like, this is not a community event. This is a tourism event trying to bring in new people in.
New people into playing the game. But this isn't the first time. Blue Archive players are traditionally pretty gatekeepy, apparently. They don't really like to keep people that aren't really into that kind of game.
What kind of game? A game that sexualizes fictional depictions of minors? Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? Again, set aside the morals and ethics aside. If every day you are harassed for the things that you enjoy, and I don't care what you think about this, how are they going to feel? They're going to feel, why do we deal with this shit? Why do we deal with these people calling us pedophiles? I just want to fucking correct my 2D JPEG. You know, teach a kid as a sensei, leave me alone, right? So if you're being bothered and harassed, of course you're going to want to gatekeep and keep people out while keeping the same people with the same mindset in. That's just how it happens for any community.
They don't want them to play the game. They want to just get them all out. So they're essentially trying to gatekeep normal people by saying we don't want these streamers because their audiences might
gatekeep normal people. Yeah, I think the average normal people would find it weird. Yeah. Straight up. That's just a fact. This is not normal, right? But again, at the end of the day, it's just good business for them to do this shit.
Contain many people that aren't as interested. They just want to get them away from it, essentially. So whether you consider that good or bad, that's essentially what they're doing.
Yeah.
Overall, I think Blue Archive probably made an insanely pro marketing move in total, because tons of people are talking about this. I'm talking about it right now.
There's what's it called? Where's the meme with I think Mr. Poke is saying devs listened, right? I feel like this is a dev listen moment.
You see it all over social media as well. It's literally just 2 hours of put a tweet up, piss people off, take it down, bam. And they probably don't even have to pay these streamers either. A lot of the time when content creators get these kinds of offers for sponsorships, they can just get pulled, and usually they don't get any of the money. They didn't have to pay anybody. They took like the tiniest amount of like social hit overall, but then they get an insane amount of advertisement.
This tells me that they were planning to do this in the first place, actually. The business contracts and the way that we're operating with these creators, they knew there's like a potential, right? When doing business, there's like risk management involved. And I'm sure their internal team realized this isn't the first time we've gotten the drama. We have an ambitious goal right now to bring in new people in, but there's a chance that our locals are going to get very pissed off. We have a plan A. If plan A passes through, you know, and plan A is this, passes through without any backlash, we proceed. But plan B is immediately fucking revert if the community backlash is bad. And they probably thought about all these different contingency plans they executed. This is great coordination.
And there might be some people that are trying the game because of that. And also the community seems to love them because they made that decision. Like, look how
yeah, because imagine what happens when you have a bunch of new people coming in and they're tourists that don't respect your culture, no matter, again, what your culture is. It's going to be very off-putting. You have mass migration. And again, isn't it crazy that we're talking about mass migration and locals and gatekeeping and tourism and illegal immigrants and deporting? Because this happens anywhere. Whenever you have a community that has a theme, a flavor, and that's their culture, you bring in new people in for the sake of increasing GDP if it's government, or increasing, you know, market value, like money, and those people don't share the same core values as the original group. What do you think is going to happen? Infighting. People are going to be fighting. People coming in are going to try to change the way that the original thing is done. Happens in the gacha community, happens in the anime community, happens in real life, because this is simply a tribalism thing. It's like a human thing. So I think that no matter what, if you're part of the crew where you're slowly getting replaced by new people who don't respect your culture, you should fight back to preserve that culture. I think so. That's the same thing I said about the Iron Mouse, you know, drama with the VTuber shit, acknowledging Burnt Peanut. I think Burnt Peanut's hilarious, but those kind of people don't respect the weeb, otaku, Japanese idol culture flavor of VTubing. And why would Iron Mouse bend a knee and let them come in? The OGs are gonna get like frustrated, right? So again, I'm not like taking any sides, but I'm saying if you're part of a situation where, again, you are about to get replaced by new people coming in, you should fight to protect your land. It's that simple. And at the end, whoever wins, fair game. You got conquered. That's how it is. That's how life works.
Excited everybody is. Like, thank you for listening to us. Like, no way, we're so back they listened. I don't know, like, please get Blue Archive players to showcase the game. Now, there are probably some content creators out there that really love Blue Archive that just don't really stream it, that you can get for this kind of campaign, I'm sure. But at the same time, they might already have audiences that like Blue Archive, so it might just kind of...
It's preaching to the choir. Like, what's the point, right? This is... I think they should have... Maybe, what if they like said specifically we're trying to bring in new people in? Maybe that new people itself would have been pissed off. And then this is another issue. Again, you deal stuff in absolutes, nothing is good. This is a perspective of a company that then bends the knee every time for their locals. But what this does is it dries out the well. You have a closed gated community, you cannot survive like that. I think tourism is important. I think bringing new people in that have good intentions to basically celebrate and integrate with their community and your culture is a good thing. That's how you keep things afloat. That's why it's gatekeeping isn't about completely just like closing the walls forever. It's about selectively picking and choosing people who want to integrate with your community and building a thriving community and a bridge off of that. And if that gets compromised because they keep listening to the locals who keep saying cancel everybody that doesn't, you know, agree with us, then that's also a problem. Like, again, anything, any spectrum of ideology, you go so extreme into one side, it's not productive.
Be like a total waste of money to give them that kind of exposure, right? Instead, it might just be way better to get someone that knows nothing about Blue Archive, but maybe would potentially enjoy it. So I think the biggest issue people had is just that it's almost a more normie kind of audience and people that wouldn't really love the game and get into it. And so because of that, they were really upset. Now, I would say when you compare this to most other gacha games, it's kind of incredible because I still remember things about people being mad about Natlan and Genshin and they were saying, let's boycott it. No.
We have in Sumeru too, right? Like basically the moment that we start getting into maps where the locals are based off of indigenous people or like darker skin tone people and all the characters are whitewashed because business analytics say that like lighter skin waifus, you know, basically people swipe harder for that. cancel cultural appropriation, racism, oh my god, colorist. And then what happened? Nothing. So many petitions, nothing, bro. And what's the difference? I think the difference is that China doesn't give a fuck. I think that the mainstream audience, the people who are content, the majority group, don't give a fuck. There's a silent majority. They're fine with it. And the vocal minority, who are simply teenagers who have pronouns and flags in the bio, who do have good intents, speak about these moral, like virtue signaling positions that they don't even believe in because they keep playing the game as a free to play, right? That's just not going to make any movement. Here, I think it's a different scenario where the majority group are connected, united, and they're willing to basically just enact change together, right? But the Genshin Impact, I think the majority said, nah, fuck this shit. And the reason why Genshin Impact stuff seems so ridiculous is because of the size of the game and the size of the player base, the vocal minority is going to seem huge and insane because of the, you know, how big and popular Genshin is. That's my conclusion of what's happened. Just an opinion. Who knows how correct it is, but the more I think about the principles at play here, I think that's what's going on.
Nothing happened, right? People get mad about like pull systems in games. Nothing happens, right? The blue
Tectone, technically. I was at work. Was I at work or was I at school? I forget. I remember I watched this stream. I watched this stream 4 years ago of Baldi pulling for Hu Tao's signature weapon. And in this stream, he's pulling for this specific weapon. But turns out there's another weapon in there, Wolf's Gravestone, and there's no pity. There's no guarantee. There's no 50-50 for the weapon banner just yet. These are the times when the weapon banner was, again, no pity for 50-50. Every fucking time it could be Wolf's Gravestone again. 50-50 again is if you pull all 90 pulls and you didn't get the weapon you wanted, your next, you know, special pull will be that weapon. Didn't have that. Bro spent so much money. Bro spent so much fucking money. Dropped how much? Is there a number? Is there a number? I forget. But I watched this shit and it was crazy. I'm like, surely this is gonna be different. Surely this time he's actually gonna get staff of one. He didn't. And then a huge drama outrage was made online. Content creators were covering this shit. And some way, somehow, real change was made. Hoyoverse, or MiHoYo, literally changed the banner system and included a 50-50 for the weapon. Was it because of Tectone? Maybe. That shit was fucking crazy, though.
Blue Archive players get mad for 2 hours. Bam, shut down everything. We're sorry, guys. We really messed this up. We're canceling the whole sponsorship, which has a bunch of money behind it. Like, just goes nuclear. Immediately shut down everything. It goes to show that the fans really hold the reins of everything.
Yes.
And this is how it really should be. I think
the fans need to be united off of a single mindset, right? Connected and understand, right? The state of the games and the state of the people coming in. And the better you have control over that, the better you can preserve your culture so that it doesn't get distorted into something different. Suddenly companies want to start, pandering towards a different audience because they think that's actually smart for their business, when at the end of the day, that actually might hurt the game that you've been invested into this all time for, right? So again, this is some good like community, like fan fandom like being united rather than being scattered around.
It almost teaches an important lesson to potentially a lot of people that if the communities really do come together, and maybe you don't agree with them doing this, but if they come together over all sorts of issues that these games have, well, then maybe they can actually make meaningful changes. The players are always the ones with all the power.
Yes. Well, not just any players, the whales too, right? The players are basically shareholders, right, of the company. And the company must listen to shareholders who are pissed off, right? So enact that change, unite.
And no matter how much people like to say like, oh, I love this company and stuff for all these gachas, well, I mean, they're kind of financially abusing most players. They're making tens of hundreds of millions of dollars for so little work compared to so many of these other games. So the players, they're the ones giving the money. They always get to choose if that company gets to eat or not, right? Like, if you're not giving them money, they shut down.
It's that simple.
They have to cater to what the fans want. And so many of these gacha communities I see, they don't seem to realize how much power they actually have. And when they come together, they can decide anything. So even if you...
Yeah, and that shit happens in a different game called MapleStory right now. I don't know if you guys know about this shit, but... MapleStory, you know, Nexon, you know, Cash Shop, like changes. Basically, this is another thing that's happening right now where, oh, Asmongold covered a MapleStory video? What the fuck? Anyways, what I'm trying to say is there's different games where there's a bunch of issues where companies are forcing in really predatory designs and practices that fuck over the community. And the community kind of just rolls over and does nothing with it. And they get fucked. If they actually stood up in business and actually enacted change, then great. But that's another thing where it's like, even within the same community with the same values, there's people that just bend over and just say, thank you, thank you, thank you, when they're getting fucked. And another side that wants to basically say, no, these are predatory practices, boycott this, boycott that. And Blue Archive, I think they're doing a really good job in uniting. Uniting off of what, though? Their desire to goon off of lollies. That's it. That's the power of lollies. This is not power of a community. This is not the power of a fandom. This is everyone being united on a single vision and a passion of their sexual desires for lolly characters in the gacha game and the way that they want to preserve this. And because that feeling is so fucking strong, they're able to come out and shine through and enact change, unite, while so many other communities are fighting, divided, you know, even though we should be uniting, trying to get the company to change for us.
You disagree with them canceling an influencer campaign like this. Just in general, keep it in the back of your mind that if these companies do really crappy things that you don't like, you can change it if the people come together. There was also a case in the game Epic 7 where they were going to implement a bunch of stuff people really didn't like dupes were going to be more useful for characters, so you have to pull multiple copies of them. The players revolted so hard that the director had to make like this whole video apologizing.
The funniest thing about, you know, Korean game dev apologizing is this. Where's the apology video? MapleStory devs apology. Basically, there's these videos where, like, or is it Lost Ark? Every time, or like Lost Ark devs apology video, it's just a white screen. Yeah. They do this all the time. It's always like 3 people with a laptop and a white screen, and they start off just it's so funny.
And bowing and saying like, we're so sorry, we're canceling all of this. And it was months of work for them to implement all these different features and stuff and that dupe system thing. It was all immediately canceled pretty much within a few days. Now that's also a Korean game, you may notice. Seems to be very common that Korea seems to capitulate more to the fans when the fans get really pissed.
Because the Koreans are hyper capitalism driven. They understand the game of business. They don't fuck around. They make killer instinct decisions at just like with such conviction and such velocity that the company survive, right? So at the end of the day, I think that this isn't one thing, right? Like how I bring in, you know, MiHoYo, like Chinese game, Chinese devs and stuff like that. I don't think this has to do with like a race thing or like a specific community. I think there's a multitude of different variables involved and why Blue Archive is shining through. And I think that obviously the nature of a like Korean dev does matter compared to a North American dev, right? The cultures and their attitudes towards business definitely change. But then that too. And then again, I really think it's about the lolly stuff. And it's not really about the lolly. It doesn't have to be lolly, but there's this one thing that everyone wants to preserve no matter what. And they're so fucking passionate, diehard. Everybody rounds up against it, rather than again people being divided on. No, you know we don't want that, or like basically like players bending over and taking company dick versus other people saying we should stand on business. That is seemingly not really happening when people rally around lolly stuff in Blue Archive.
I don't know if it happens with these other ones, but anyways, I just think this was a really interesting situation that occurred. It's kind of crazy that just within a couple hours, and these are some big name streamers as well, just immediately you're fired pretty much. I mean, if I was them, I'd be a little bit pissed that I lost out on the money.
Maybe they were given ahead. I feel like, again, if this is a contingency plan they mentioned, they probably included in their business emails or communication that like there's a chance that you guys might just get pulled, so be ready for that. I would think that they would have planned that in advance.
To be honest, but oh well, I mean, that sucks. Anyways, thanks a bunch for watching. Hope to see you next time.
And that's pretty much it. Thank you, Genizad, for giving us a summary of what's going on with the Blue Archive stuff that I was confused about popping off on Twitter. And I think the lesson of the day is lollies are too powerful. Lollies are genuinely way too powerful, way too strong, and it is such an important thing that people want to preserve and maintain that it is shining through more than any other game. Anytime, again, I'm not here to discuss the ethics and morals of whether it's good to be a lolicon or not. I'm talking about just pure business and communities, right? And when you are part of a community and some way, other people are coming in that doesn't respect you, right? And it's becoming mainstream. I do think gatekeeping is necessary, but gatekeeping doesn't mean reject everybody. Gatekeeping means you need to filter out people who don't share the core same values. When you come into a community, when you immigrate and come to a different person's house, different person's country, your intention should be respectful and integrate and basically adapt with your surroundings and thrive together. If your intention is to come in and to change everything from the root up because it just disagrees with your values core system, you just hate lolly stuff and you think you're on the right side of justice, do whatever you want. Hey, sure, whatever. But you need to realize these are destructive people. They are not here to collaborate. They're here to dominate and change you. And if enough people come and do that, I mean, shit, that's how North America is built, you know? Like settlers, colonizers, that's how the world operates. So if you are wanting to preserve that culture, fight back and let people know because your voice matters. Link to the video right here. Go check out Genizad, go give it a like, and I'll see you next time.